Hey everybody, this is a game of replay baseball. Haven't done one of those for video purposes in a while. I know some people have shown interest in replay baseball. So I thought I would pull out my newly acquired 1957 season and replay Game 2 of the 1957 World Series between the Milwaukee Braves and the New York Yankees. This was a series that the Milwaukee Braves actually won in 7 games. This is Game 2. The Yankees won Game 1. Don't know if I'll play out all the games or not, but just thought I would do one to kind of show the game off a little bit for those who haven't seen it as much or want to learn about it. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and meet the lineups and get things going here as we wait for people to join if they are so inclined to do so. So, leading off, all right, let's get the pitchers first of all for this Game 2 of the 1957 World Series. For the Yankees, it's lefty Bobby Shantz, and for the Braves, it is right-hander Lou Burdette. Now, the thing about Bobby Shantz, you can see his card here is shaded blue. He is a lefty, so when he faces a lefty, we're going to go off these 3 rows. When he faces a righty, we'll go off these 3 rows. So that's where the left-right splits kind of come in a little bit more when a pitcher has distinct results against righties and lefties. And the other thing that I did that I really enjoy is when I bought the game, it came with this spiral-bound playbook, which was nice, but you had to flip the pages every time you wanted to get a result. So for $9, I invested in the stand-up board, which is much, much better now. I can see everything in one fell swoop. I don't have to switch pages or anything like that. Now, for video purposes, you may not be able to see it that well, but I will go ahead and obviously read everything off. So let's get going with the starting lineups for today's game. Hi, Statistician. How you doing? First, for the visiting Milwaukee Braves, leading off and playing second base is Red Shandies. Batting second at short is Johnny Logan. Hitting third at third base is Eddie Matthews. Batting cleanup in center field is Hank Aaron. Batting fifth at first base is Joe Adcock. Batting sixth in right field is Andy Pofko. Batting seventh in left field is Wes Covington. Batting eighth at catcher is Del Crandall. And batting ninth, he's got his own batting card, Lou Burdette. So that's the Milwaukee Braves lineup. For the Yankees, leading off will be right fielder Hank Bauer. Batting second will be the shortstop Gil McDougall. Batting third, center fielder Mickey Mantle. Batting cleanup is the catcher Yogi Berra. Hitting fifth is left fielder Enos Slaughter. Batting sixth, first baseman Harry Simpson. He came over from the Kansas City A's mid-season. Batting seventh is third baseman Tony Kubek. Hitting eighth is Jerry Coleman at second. And batting ninth, using pitcher hitting card number 3, is, of course, Bobby Shantz. So what I'm going to try to do, and we'll see if this works. I've done it before with other other games. Hi, Steve. How you doing? I'm going to try to see if I can get this to work. I'm going to put the batter card and the pitcher card there together so you can see it. Let me adjust the camera here, hopefully. Can everybody see the results on those cards, or is it still too small? If anybody can chime in and let me know. If it's good the way it is, I'll keep it there. If it's something that needs to be improved, I'll see about improving it. But I still want to be able to show all the dice roll as well. So we'll go ahead and get going, unless I hear feedback about this not working for people. So we'll go ahead and get started. And the first batter, of course, is Red Shandies against Bobby Shantz. And just as a quick refresher from how the game is played, you roll 3 dice, and you read them in red, white, and blue order. The red die tells you which column on each card to check. The white die tells you which row on the batter card to look for. And the blue die tells you which row on the pitcher card to look for. Then you cross-reference everything, get a number, and go to the board and check the result. So we'll go ahead and get going. And again, Bobby Shantz has one of these shaded cards, which is the left-right splits. So when he's facing a lefty, we'll read off the blue rows. When he's facing a righty, we'll read off the white rows. So we'll get going here. Red Shandies leads things off against Bobby Shantz. Shandies a switch hitter, so batting right-handed will be off the white rows on Bobby Shantz. Here is the first pitch. and it's a 4-4-5. So column 4 is usually a fielding column. So 4-4 on the batter card, Shane D's 4-4 is a 17, which is right there, 17. And a 4-5 on Chance's card against a righty, 4-5 is the third baseman because we're using this 5-6 since he's facing a right-handed batter. So that's the third baseman, and the third baseman in this case is Tony Kubek, who's a 3. So we've got a 17 here and a 3 there. That's a 20. And a 20 in column 4 with the infield back is a ground out to first. However, when you get a 20 or a 21, there is the umpire chart. And since it's a 20, we'll roll 1d6. If it's a 1 or a 6, he'll be safe. Anything else, he'll be out. So we're going to roll 1 die. If it's a 1 or a 6, he has beat this out. If it's 2, 3, 4, or 5, that means that Kubek threw him out. It's a 1, so he beat it out. Infield hit for Red Shandies. So he was able to beat that throw by Kubek. And he's aboard for Johnny Logan, right-handed hitter. And again, since he's right-handed, we're going off the white of Bobby Chance's card. So we have a 4. Again, it's another fielding check to 4-6, and that's a 16 on Logan. And a 4-1 is the second baseman for the Yankees, and that's Jerry Coleman, who's a 3. So that gives us a total of 19. And with the infield halfway, which is what they would have been for double play purposes, that halfway is a single knocked down by the fielder's glove. Runner advances 1 base. So Johnny Logan will get an infield single, as the fact that Coleman was in halfway, he couldn't get to that ball, and he only could knock it down and keep it in the infield. But the infield hit is the result. So the first 2 are on for the Braves, and that'll bring up lefty Eddie Matthews. Now with lefty Eddie Matthews batting, we're going to be using the blue rose for Bobby Chance because he was much better against lefties. Lots of 1s and 2s against lefties where he had 4s and 5s against righties. So Eddie Matthews is up. Infield still at double play depth. And this time we get a 6-5-1, as we do read them red, white, and blue. So a 6-5 for Matthews is a 31. A 6-1 here is a 1 rather. So we add them together to get a 32. And a 32 says it's a pop up to third. So that's going to keep everybody right where they are. Right where they are, that's out number 1. And that'll bring up Hank Aaron. So Hank Aaron is up, and again, with Chance having the blue shaded when he faces lefties, he's going to be off the white portion here, as he's facing the right-hander Hank Aaron. In fact, most batters he's facing are right-handed. I think there's 2 lefties in the lineup. So here's Hank Aaron's at bat. It's another fielding check, 4-6-5. So Hank Aaron, a 4-6 is only a 1 here, so this is a potential double play all the way. And a 4-5 is a third baseman check, and we've already seen that is Kubek, who is a 3. So we take the 3 and the 1, that's a total of 4, and with the infield halfway, that's a double play ball. So there's a 5-4-3 double play, and the inning is over. So nothing doing for the Milwaukee Braves. They thought they were going to get something going here in the first, but it did not pan out. Double play took care of that. So now we go to the bottom of the first, and Lou Burdette is your pitcher, and Hank Bauer is your leadoff hitter. So Hank Bauer will lead things off to start the bottom of the first. Oops, knocked him over. I knew that would happen. Okay, so we have a 6-6-3. So a 6-6 for Bauer is an 11. That's a potential home run, depending on what the pitcher has. So he brings an 11 to the table. And a 6-3 for Burdette is a 3. That's a 14 in column 6, and a 14 in column 6 is a home run. So as Tenacious Earl would say, it's long and it's gone. So Hank Bauer leads off the ball game with a home run, and those 6-6 rolls can do that to you if you're the pitcher. So the Yankees grab a quick 1-0 lead before the seats even get warm, and here's Gil McDougall. Steve Ryan, yes, this is Replay Baseball, the 1957 World Series Game 2 as played lineups. And right now, with the home run by Hank Bauer, the Yankees lead at 1-0 here in the bottom of the first. Here's Gil McDougall, the shortstop. And we get a 2-1-6. So for McDougall, a 2-1 is a 45. and a 2-6 is a 5. That's a total of 50 in column 2. And a 50 in column 2 is a ground out shortstop to first. That would be an injury, but I'm not playing injuries, but he would be out for 2 games had I been playing injuries. But we're not doing that. So here's Mickey Mantle, switch hitter, stepping to the plate against Burdett. And we get a 2-5-3. So for Mantle, a 2-5 is a 3, and a 2-3 for Burdett is a 5. That's a total of 8 in column 2, and that is a foul out to the third baseman. So he's going to foul it out to Eddie Matthews for out number 2. And there's 2 away. Brings up Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra steps to the plate against Burdett. 2 outs, base is empty. And we get another fielding check because we have a red 4, and that's a 4-6-4. So Yogi Berra, a 4-6 is a 4, so that's most likely going to be an out. And then Burdett, a 4-4 is the shortstop Logan, who's a 1. So that's a total of 5 in column 4, which is a standard ground out. And that's going to end the inning. But the Yankees grab a run on the home run by Bauer. And after 1 inning of play, it is the Yankees 1 and the Braves nothing. Bobby Shantz back on the mound facing another right-handed hitter in Joe Adcock. And you can see in his 6-6 category, he's got an 11 also. So he's a threat for a home run if he gets the 6-6 roll. Instead, it's a 2-4-6. So Adcock on a 2-4, that's a 60 with a raised number of 4 on it. And what that means is it's a looping line drive, and we're testing the outfielder's ability to catch this ball. The blue die will tell us who the fielder is. The blue die is a 6, so that means that the fielder is the right fielder. When it's a 6, it's the right fielder. It's a drive toward the gap in the outfield. It says if the outfielder's defensive rating is higher than the raised number, he's made a fine running catch. Okay, so the raised number here is a 4. So the outfielder's rating has to be higher than 4. And unfortunately, Hank Bauer is only a 3, so he's not going to get to this. So that's going to drop in. It says if the outfielder's defensive rating is not higher than the raised number, it falls in for a double. Let's see here. With less than 2 outs, batter stretches hit into a triple if third base is open and his speed is higher than the outfield's arm. Well, Adcock's if you look at Adcock's card, he's only a 2 for his speed. So he's not going to get the triple. He's going to stick with the double. But a faster runner would have gotten a triple out of that. But it is a leadoff double for Mr. Adcock. And the Milwaukee Braves might have something going here in the top of the second. That brings up Andy Pofko, right fielder. And that is a 1-2-4. So a 1-2 is a 35. And a 1-4, as he's facing a right-hander, 1-4 is a 4. So that is a total of 39 in column 1. That is a ground ball to the first baseman. And with the infield back, out at first, runners advance. So with the runner at second, you're going to have the infield back. So that's going to be a ground ball to the first baseman, and that will advance Adcock to third base. So he's at third base with 1 out. And that brings up Wes Covington, who is a left-handed batter, so we will be going off the blue-shaded area for Bobby Shantz on this at-bat. And that's a 2-2-6. So for Wes Covington, a 2-2 is an 11, and a 2-6 against a lefty, it's a 2. Against a righty, it would have been a 5, and I'll show you the difference. If it was a 5, that would be a 16 in column 2. That would be a single to right field. However, since it's a 2, add that to the 11, that's a 13. Well, in this case, it's still going to be a single because of that 11. When they get an 11 here, you're almost guaranteed to get a hit because anything you add to it, whether it's a 1 or a 5, it will be a single. So in this case, it really didn't matter. This just reflects the fact that Wes Covington got a lot of singles. So Wes Covington will single, and that will tie the ball game as Adcock comes in to score. And we're tied up at 1-1, but a lesser hitter, that lefty-lefty thing may have stopped the base hit, but not in this case. All right, here is Del Crandall, catcher, and that is a 3-1-6. Now, a 3-1 is going to take us to the ballpark because that is just shaded area. Right now it's a 4, but on the ballpark card for Yankee Stadium, there is a column 3, and so we're going to re-roll 1d6, and whatever it is going to change that number from a 4 to something else. So let's see what the number is going to be. It's a 5, So that means we're going to make it, well, it's going to stay a 4. So it actually didn't change. It's going to stay a 4. Had we rolled a 1 on that case, then we would have gone over to check a pop out. But we rolled a 4, so it's going to stay a 4. And then we take the pitcher category, which was a 3-6 for chance, and a 3-6 for chance against a righty is another 4. So that's a total of 8 in column 3, and that's going to be a foul out to the third baseman. And that's out number 2. And Crandall is gone. And that'll bring up Lou Burdett. He's got his own pitcher hitting card. Like I said, he must have had a lot of at-bats. In fact, he had 88 at-bats, so they gave him his own card. It's pretty good if you're a pitcher and you get your own card. All right, here's Burdett against Chance. It is a 3-1-3. So 3-1 for Burdett is a 4, and a 3-3 is a 3 in column 3 here. That's a 7, and that's going to be a foul out to second. So that's going to retire the side, but the Braves tie it with a run of their own here in the top of the second. We go to the bottom of the second. We're tied at 1, and Enos Country Slaughter will lead things off. Hey, Beatles. Enos Slaughter will lead things off against Lou Burdett. This is a 3-1-4. So Slaughter, a 3-1 is a 31. A 3-4 is a 4. That's a total of 35 in column 3. And a 35 in column 3 is a double to center field. So Enos Slaughter just cracked a double to center field. As the Yankees have their hitting shoes on, we'll bring up Harry Simpson, first baseman. So Harry Simpson, it's a 1-2-3. So a 1-2 is a 35. A 1-3 is a 5. That's a total of 30 in column 1. And a 30 in column 1 is a single off the pitcher's glove and a possibility of an error. Runner advances 1 bases. Pitcher recovers but may throw wildly. Roll against pitcher's error rating. If the roll is higher, batter and runner advance an extra base. All right, so the error rating on Burdett is a 26. So we're going to roll the red and white die. If it comes up higher than 26, Burdett has just thrown this ball away. It's a 43, so he threw it away. So as we can see here, Burdett was an error rating, if I can get this to focus in correctly. I'm not sure it's going to do that. There we go. Error rating of 26, and I rolled a 43, so obviously he made the boot. So that's going to allow Slaughter to come all the way around to score. Slaughter did go to third on the infield hit by Simpson, but then he's going to score on the E1, and Simpson will go to second. So no RBI given, but the Yankees grab a 2-1 lead, and that brings up Tony Kubek. Tony Kubek, third baseman. It's a 5-3-2. So a 5-3 for Kubek is a 6. And a 5-2 for Burdett is a 1. It's a total of 7 in column 5, and that's going to be a walk. Column 5 is where you get a lot of your walks, and that just came up right there. So now we have runners at first and second with nobody out, and Jerry Coleman, the number 8 hitter, steps to the plate. Could think about bunting, but then you got the pitcher coming up, so you may as well swing away. Whoops, that thing stuck to my hand. Here we go. Okay, so it is a 2-2-3. 2-2 for Coleman. Again, we've got that 11, so that means it's going to be a base hit no matter what Burdett brings to the table, because a 12 through a 16 is a single, but we'll do it officially. 2-11, and then over here a 2-3 is a 5. That's a 16, so that's a single to right field. Single to right field by Coleman, and it says here with 2 out, runners advance 1 base, so it just gives a 1 base advancement, so that's going to load the bases with nobody out. And that brings up the pitcher. The pitcher in this case, Bobby Shantz. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bobby Shantz, pitcher hitting card number 3. And we get a fielding play. It's a 4-1-4. So 4-1 is a 1. A 4-4 is the shortstop. Johnny Logan, he's a 1. So that's a 2. And with the infield at double play depth, that is a double play. They'll give up the run to get the out. So it is a 6-4-3 double play. The run will score. It's an unearned run as Simpson crosses the plate. Yankees now lead it 3-1, but at least now there are 2 outs with a runner at third. And Hank Bauer, who homered to lead off the bottom of the first, he's back up there with the runner at third and 2 outs. against Burdett, who was the MVP of the 57 series. He pitched 3 complete games, I believe. Or I know he got 3 wins anyway. Don't know if they were complete games, but he was the MVP. All right, got a 1-3 for Bauer. That's only a number 1, so that's not good. That's probably a strikeout. A 1-5 for Burdett is a 5. So that's a total of 6 in column 2, and that in fact is a strikeout. And that's going to end the inning, but the Yankees pick up 2 runs. And after 2 complete, it is the Yankees with a 3-1 lead over the Milwaukee Braves. So they've given Bobby Shantz something to work with. And we're back to the top of the order for Red Shandies. So Shandies, switch hitter, steps to the plate. And we get a 2-5-5. So for Shandies, a 2-5 is a 50. And for Shantz, 2-5 is a 5. That's a 55 in column 2. And that's a ground ball to second for the first out of the inning, as that is handled by Jerry Coleman. 1 away for Johnny Logan, the shortstop. Logan singled his last time up. It's a 5-6-1. 5-6 is a 2 for Johnny Logan. And 5-1 for Shantz is a 1. So that's a total of 3 in column number 5, and that's a ground ball to second. So another play out there for Jerry Coleman. 2 down. 2 up, 2 down for the lefty, Eddie Matthews. So Eddie Matthews is up. He popped to third his first time up. Eddie Matthews. It's a 1-3-6. So 1-3 for Matthews is a 2, so that's looking like a strikeout. A 1-6 against the lefty is a 2. It would have been a 5 against the righty, but it's only a 2 against the lefty. Total of 3 in column 2, which is, in fact, a strikeout. So that's going to end the inning for the Braves. They go quietly in the top of the 3rd. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. And Gil McDougall steps in against Lou Burdett, who's trying to recover from the 2-run inning he gave up last time. So see if he can't settle down here against McDougall to lead things off. We got a 4-4-5. That's a fielding play again. 4-4 is a 19 for McDougall. And 4-5 for Burdett is the shortstop Logan. That's a 1. So that's a 20 in column 4 with the infield back. And again, that number 20 brings in the umpire chart. And again, a 1 through 6, or 1 or 6, he'll be safe. Anything else, he'll be out. So 1 through 6, and he will beat this out. Anything else, Logan will make the play. It's a 6, so he beat it out. That's twice that's happened. Infield hits. So McDougall snuck it out there. And that'll bring up Mickey Mantle. So Mickey Mantle steps to the plate with a runner at first and nobody out. Mickey Mantle, it's another fielding play, 4-6-2. So Mantle, 4-6 is an 11, and a 4-2 for Burdett as a second baseman. And that is going to be Shandies, who's a 2. So that is a total of 13 in column 4. And a 13 in column 4. Anytime you're 12 through 16, it's an error check. So we're going to check the Shandies error possibility. He's a rating of 54. If we look at Shandies' card here as a second baseman, he is an E54. So the red and white die have to be higher than 54 for him to make an error. If it's not, he'll make the double play. It's a 33, so he made the play. That's going to be, with the infield halfway, that is a double play. If it's not higher, score. I'm sorry, it's a force out, not a double play. It's a force out. So McDougall is out 4-6. Mantle reaches on the fielder's choice. Okay, the rule book says it's a force play, not a double play. All right. Brings up Yogi Berra. Good old Yogi. And we knock Yogi over. So that's a 1-5-6. 1-5 for Yogi is a 5. A 1-6 for Burdett is a 5. That's a 10 in column 1. That's a pop out to first. And that's out number 2. Is Yogi not able to get it done. Here's Enos Slaughter with 2 outs now and a runner at first. Enos Country Slaughter. And we get a 3-4-2. 3-4 is a 57 for Slaughter. 57. And a 3-2 for Burdett is a 3. That's a total of 60 in column 3, and that's an unusual play. What they call a rare play. And what happens on a rare play is we're going to roll 1 die. If it's odd, we go to the rare play book. If it's even, then we go to the ball hit back to the pitcher. It is an odd one, so we are going to the rare playbook. So now we're going to pull out the old book that I had under rare plays and look and see what we got. So we're going to roll 2 dice, and there are 2 outs, so that's another consideration. And we roll a 4, so we add them together, we get a 4. So we're going to go to the book with a runner at first. Runner at first. Find the runner at first table here. Okay, runner at first and 1 out. And the roll was a 4. And there is 1 out. So it says here, batter strikes out plus attempted pickoff. Batter takes call strike 3 and catcher fires down to first base. Roll 1 die against the catcher's defensive rating. If the die is not higher, runner is picked off to complete the double play. If it's higher, he gets back. All right, the catcher in this case is Del Crandall, and his defensive rating is a 4. So we're going to roll 1 die. If this is a 5 or a 6, then the runner has been picked off. If it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4, he'll get back safely. It's a 4, so he got back safely, but it is a strikeout. So Enos Slaughter, well, actually, that was the 3rd out of the inning, so it really was irrelevant. Didn't even have to go through that. That was the 3rd out of the inning, and that does it for the Yankees here in the bottom of the 3rd. So we go to the 4th. Score still 3-1 Yankees. And Hank Aaron back in the box against Bobby Shantz. Oh, look at that. 666. Interesting. And not good if you're the pitcher because Hank Aaron's got an 11 sitting right here in the 6-6 category. So this could be history. 6-6 is 11. 6-6 here is a 5. So that's a total of 16. And that is a home run into the second deck. Had he been facing a lefty, it would have been a 2. That would have been a home run either way because 11, anything you add to 11 is going to be a home run. So when you hit that 11 chart, you don't even have to look at the pitcher. You just know it's gone. So Hank Aaron just hit a solo shot off of Bobby Shantz into the second deck at Yankee Stadium. And it's now a 3-2 ball game as the Braves creep closer. Here's Joe Adcock. He doubled his first time up. And we get a 1-1-4. 1-1 for Adcock's a 15. A 1-4 is a 4. That's a 19 in column 1. And that's an infield single plus an error. And we need to check the blue die to see who the fielder is. The blue die is a 4. And this says into the hole at second base. Hurry up, throw to first, may be wild. Roll against the error rating of the fielder. So the error rating of the second baseman, Coleman, is a 44. So we're going to roll the red and white die and see if it's a 44 or higher. It is. It's a 53. So now I got to roll the blue die and see if we get a 6 to make it a 2-base error. And we do. It's a 2-base error. How about that? So if the roll is higher, batter and all runners advance an extra base on his error. Okay, well, I guess you really didn't have to roll the blue die on that one. So it's, in this case, it's a single plus an error. So single for Adcock, and he goes to second on the throwing error, E4. If runners were on base, that would have mattered a little bit more, but with the bases empty at the time, it's simply a single and a throwing error to allow him to get to second. So he's at second base with nobody out for Andy Pofko, and that is a 1-3-2. Pofko 1-3 is a 2, so that's most likely going to be a strikeout. But Shantz using this right-handers, he's got some high numbers up here, so it's a 1-2, which is a 4. So that's but it's still a total of 6, which is a strikeout. So that's out number 1, as Pofko is gone. Wes Covington, the batter. And we have a 4-3-1. That's another fielding check. 4-3 is a 5. A 4-1 against a lefty is a first baseman. First baseman in this case is Simpson, who's a 4. So that's a total of 9 in column 4. And a 9 in column 4 with the infield halfway is a force play. So it's a, I'm sorry, the infield's half, it would have been back because the runner's already at second. So a 9 is a ground out to first. Runner advances 1 base on a ground ball to first. So it's going to be a ground ball to first for out number 2. And Adcock will move to third. So he's at third with 2 outs now, as Del Crandall has a chance to tie the score with the base hit. Crandall popped to third his first time up. And we got 555. How about that? 5-5 is a 15, and a 5-5 is a 2. That's a 17 in column 5. And a 17 in column 5 is an infield single, and we go to the action chart. But the infield single will score Adcock. So he will come across the plate on that infield single. And now we go to the M action chart. So the action chart is coded by letter. And we're going to the M action chart, which talks about wild pitches and pickoffs. And we'll roll to see what happens here. I'll roll all three, but we're really only adding the red and white die. So that's a 5 when you put those together. So a 5 says it's a wild pitch. So wild pitch says if blue die is higher than wild pitch rating, all runners advance. All right, the wild pitch rating on chance is a 4. Wild pitch rating is a 4. The blue die is a 6, so that's obviously higher. So we do have a wild pitch. So a wild pitch will move Crandall to second. And now Lou Burdett with a chance. Lou Burdett with a chance to drive home the possible go-ahead run. It's a 1-1-3, probably not going to happen. 1-1's a 2, that's probably a strikeout. And a 1-3 against a righty is a 4. That's a total of 6. That is a strikeout. And that ends the inning. So we're tied at 3-3. Beatles, you got here late. This is replay baseball. ID Jester was talking about the computer version, which I also have, which has really good interface. But sometimes you like to just roll the dice too. So I'm playing the board game version. And we are tied now at 3-3 as we go to the bottom of the 4th. And that'll bring up Lou Burdett back in the box, and he'll be facing Harry Simpson, the first baseman. So Harry Simpson. And the roll is a 1-4-3. 1-4 for Simpson is a 35, and a 1-3 for Burdett is a 5. That's a total of 40 in column 1. 40 in column 1 is a ground ball to short. 1 away. Brings up Tony Kubek. All right. Here we go. Beatles, what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to do one play very slowly and show you the interface in a complete at-bat so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm trying to do. Trying to go a little bit faster and not move the board around, but I'll do it one time just so you can see it. Okay, so we got a 4-1-5. 4-1-5. The red die tells you which column in both batter and pitcher we look for. The white die tells you which row on the batter card. And the blue die tells you which row on the pitcher card. So Tony Kubek, we're in column 4 because of that red die says column 4. And we're in row 1, so that gives me a number of 2. Then on Lou Burdett, column 4, row 5 says it's the shortstop. So the shortstop, we check his rating and substitute his number rating for that position. The shortstop in this case is Logan, who was a 1. So we take a 1 from this result and a 2 from that result and get a grand total of 3. And if you go to the board in column number 4, each of the boards, they're numbered by what the red die was. Column 4 with the infield back, a 2 through an 11 says he grounds out to first. And our number came up to be 4. So that means it's a ground out to the shortstop Logan for out number 2. And obviously when you're playing on your own, you don't have to go through all those, drawn out things to show people, but if you're doing it on your own, you just kind of almost memorize the results sometimes. So it can go a little bit faster. So here's Jerry Coleman. It's a 6-4-1. So for Coleman, a 6-4 is a 41, and a 6-1 is a 2. That's a 43 in column 6. And a 43 in column 6 is a line drive hit to left field. And let's see what it says here. Runner advances 1 bases on single, chance for extra bases. Roll die against the outfielder's defensive rating. If the die is higher, scored as a double. All right, the defensive rating for the right fielder in this case, Pofko, is a 4. So if we roll a 5 or 6, then Coleman will get an extra base. If it's a 1, 2, 3, or 4, he has to stay at first. It's a 5. So the fact that was a 5, that means Coleman gets the extra base, and that single turns into a double. So the double results there, and the blue die is what told me which fielder to check, in case you were wondering. But Coleman now stretched that to a double. Not that it really matters because the pitcher is coming up next, and he's got a bat with 2 outs. So that's a 2-1, which means we're at number 50. and a 2-3, which means we're at a 5. It's a 55 in column 2, and that's a ground out to second to end the inning. So nothing doing for the Yankees. And after 4 complete, we are tied at 3. And we go to the top of the 5th with the top of the order for the Braves, rather, Red Shandies. Beatles, this is a well-designed game. I kind of set it to the side after I was playing Strat and History Maker and Payoff Pitch for a while, but the more I get into this game, the more I like it. There's a lot of subtle things in this game that I've been learning as far as the way the cards are designed. So, yeah, it's definitely a well-designed game, and the cards themselves are the best quality cards out there by any game manufacturer, bar none. So that's another good quality. All right, so Shandies is going to lead things off, and we get a 6-3-6. So 6-3 is a 31, and a 6-6 is a 5. That's a 36 in column 6. That's a fly out to right for out number 1. And that'll bring up the shortstop, Johnny Logan. So Johnny Logan steps up. Hi, Ken. How you doing? All right, it's a 4-5-5. So Logan, a 4-5 is an 11. And Chance, 4-5 is the third baseman. That's Kubek. He's a 3. So you take the 3 and the 11, you get a 14. That's a possible error on Kubek. And unfortunately for Kubek, he's an error rating of 11. So this is almost guaranteed to be an error. Just a matter of whether it's a 2-base error. And it is. The blue die is a 6. That means we got a 2-base error on Tony Kubek. So that's an E5 that will allow Logan to get to second base on that error. So Braves have something cooking here in the top of the 5th. Eddie Matthews, the batter. Lefty on lefty against Chance. Oops, as I knock him over. 6-4-4. So 6-4, and here's where some more left-right splits come into play. On Matthews' card, column 6, row 4 is split. You've got a 59 and you got an 11, depending on who you're facing. Since he's facing a left-handed batter, that's a 59. Had he been facing a right-handed batter, that would be a right-handed pitcher, I should say, that would be an 11. We've already seen 11s are home runs most times, so the fact that he's facing a lefty is going to take that away from him. However, 6-5 is a 2, so that would be a total of 61 in column 6, and that's still a double. So Matthews will double, but the left-right split took away the home run. But the double does allow Logan to score, and the Braves now grab a 4-3 lead. And that'll bring up Hank Aaron on out and a runner at second, Matthews, after that double. Hank Aaron's a 5-5-1. 5-5 is a 15 for Hank Aaron, and a 5-1 is a 2. That's a 17 in column 5. 17 in column 5 is an infield single, and we're going to the M action chart. So that single will move Matthews to third, and we're going to the action chart. And the benefit of the computer game on this is the computer will do all these calculations for you, so it will kind of speed up the way the game is played, and obviously it's not going to make an error for you. But there's still something to be said about playing cards and dice. So we're going to the M action chart, and again we're checking for a wild pitch, pass ball, that sort of thing. We get a 4, and a 4 says pass ball possibility. So we go to the pass ball thing. It says if blue die is higher than catcher's pass ball rating, all runners advance on a pass ball. So again, the blue die comes back to bite him because it's a 6. And Yogi's pass ball rating is only a 2. So it will be a pass ball, and that will allow Matthews to score on the pass ball. And it will also allow Hank Aaron to get to second. So the Braves have now taken the lead by 2 runs. It's now 5-3 as the Yankee defense is getting a little shaky out there. Blue die of 6 kind of keeps that or helps that go along that way. Here's Adcock. So 1-3-6. 1-3 is a 2. 1-6 is a 5. That's a total of 7. And that is going to be a pop-up to second. And that's out number 2. So 2 down, and Andy Pofko, the batter. He's 0 for 2. He's one of the few that hasn't gotten a hit yet. 3-3 is a 5. 3-5 is a 5. That's a total of 10 in column 3, and he still hasn't gotten a hit. Oh, yeah, he has. I was looking at column 2. My bad. In column 3, it's a single to right field. So the single to right field by Pofko, and let's check runner advancement. It says runner advances 1 base, but you could check with a third base coach for extra base attempts. So if we look at the third base coach, there is a third base coach board, and we're looking, it's going to be based on the running rating of the runner against the throwing arm of the outfielder. So in this case, the outfielder is going to be checked by the blue die, which is a 5. So the blue die on a 5 is the right fielder. So we're checking Bauer, and his arm is a 3. And the running rating of the runner, Hank Aaron's running rating is, let me find his running rating here. Hank Aaron's running rating is a 4. So we got a 4 versus a 3, which means the running rating is 1 higher than the, so it's speed minus arm. So he starts out with a 4, you minus the arm, which is a 3, breaks him down to a 1. So he's in this category right here. And there should be something with 2 outs, but I don't see it on here. But I think you get something extra with 2 outs. But either way, in this 1 category, the only way you can be out is to roll a 10. If you roll a 12, he has to hold. Anything else, he's going to score. So there's really not a whole lot of risk in not sending him. So we'll roll the 2d6s, and if it's not a 10, then he makes it. It's a 7, so he made it, no problem. In fact, a 7, let's see here, it says extra base with a plus sign on it. Lead runner is safe, advancing extra base on close play. Trailing runners may move up on the play. Roll 1 die. Any runner with speed equal to or higher than die roll moves up next base open. So the fact that they threw to get Aaron at home means Pofko has a chance to take the second base on the throw. Pofko's a 3, so we're going to roll 1 die. If it's higher than 3, he'll advance. It's a 2, so he does not advance. So he will have to hold at first base. But he brings home a run with a single, and that's the 3rd run of the inning for the Braves. They now lead it 6-3, and it brings up Wes Covington. Wes Covington, the batter. It's a 6-4-4. 6-4 for Covington is a 16. I'm sorry, 6-4 for Covington. We're back to that left-right again. That's a 59, so that's going to most likely be a double. In fact, it will be a double. There's no most likely to it. That is a double. And let's see if the runner will score. It says, with 2 outs, runner with 4 or 5 speed scores from first. Well, Pofko has a 3 speed, so he will not score. He will stop at third. So runners are at second and third, and Chance may not be in this game too much longer. They're going to intentionally walk Crandall to load the bases and pitch to the pitcher, Burdette, to try to get out of this jam. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And we got a 6-3-3. 6-3 is a 16. 6-3 is a 3. It's a 19, which is a fly to right, and that's going to end the inning. But 9 batters came to the plate, and the Braves brought 3 of them home and left 3 of them on the bases. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's now a 6-3 ball game in favor of the Braves, as the Yankees' once 3-1 lead has long since been gone. Here's Hank Bauer. 1-2-3. 1-2 for Hank Bauer is a 2. 1-3 for Burdette is a 5. That's a 7, which is a pop up to second. And I'm going to try to go a little bit faster here because we're already at 43 minutes and I'm just in the 5th inning. So don't want this to last forever. So we'll go ahead and try to pick the pace up a little bit and play it more like the pace would be as somebody that has the game and is not doing a video. All right, 3-2 is a 2. That's the ballpark. The ballpark on that column 3 again. We're going to roll 1 die, see if it changes. And that is a 3, so that's still a 2. The 3 becomes a 2. It was already a 2, so we just stay there. And then the 3-2 for the pitcher was a 3. It's a total of 5 in column 3, and that's going to be a fly out to left. For out number 2, McDougal is gone. And that'll bring up Mickey Mantle with 2 outs and the bases empty here in the 5th. Mantle, that's a fielding check. It's 4-2-3. Mantle a 19 on a 4-2. 4-3 for Burdette's a third baseman. That is Eddie Matthews. He's a 3. That's a 22 in column 4 with the infield back. And that's going to be a base hit. So it's a base hit off the glove. So Mantle sneaks it by the third baseman, Matthews, and gets a base hit with 2 outs. So there brings up Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra, another fielding check, 4-3-3. 4-3, this time's a 1, so that's going to be an out. 4-3 is the third baseman, so this time Matthews will get it, and will throw the runner out to end the inning. So it's a 6-3 or 5-3 put out to end the inning. And we go to the sixth. It's still 6-3 in favor of the Braves. All right, so Bobby Shantz back out there. Actually, you know what? We're going to take Shantz out because he's given up 6 runs. So Shantz is going to be replaced. And they'll go to a right-hander. And the right-hander is going to be... Let's see who they've got here. Do they have any good right-handed relievers? They'll go to Johnny Cucks. So Johnny Cucks, he was a part-time starter, part-time reliever. So Johnny Cucks is the new pitcher for the Yankees. He's a righty. So he's going to face Red Shandies to start the inning. It's another fielding check with a 4 there. 4-3 is a 19. A 4-3 is a third baseman. Kubek, that's a 3. So that's a 22, and a 22 means it's an infield single for Shandies. So a lot of offense in this game. That's another reason why the game's taking so long, because of all the offense. Here's Johnny Logan. I would say the average time for a game, playing board game, is probably about 50 minutes once you know what you're doing. All right, so 4-1 is a 2, and a 4-3 is the third baseman Kubek, who is a 3. That's a total of 5, and a 5 is a double play. So that is a 5-4-3 double play around the horn for out number 2. So that clears the bases. 2 out spaces empty for Eddie Matthews. Matthews, it's a 6-4-5. 6-4, again, we're at the left-right split, but this time he's facing a righty. So instead of the 59, we are going to get, if I can get this thing to focus, instead of the 59, we're going to get the 11. So this could be a home run. An 11, and then a 6-5 is a 3. It's a total of 14, and that is a home run. So Eddie Matthews, now that he's facing a right-hander, just went yard. And good thing for the double play for the Yankees' sake, because that would have been a multiple RBI home run, but it was a solo shot. Still makes it 7-3. And here's Hank Aaron. That's a 1-6-1. 1-6 is a 45. A 1-1 is a 3. It's a 48 in column 1. And that is a strikeout to end the inning. But the Braves continue to build on their lead. And Lou Burdett is back out there, and he's enjoying this 7-3 lead as we start the bottom of the 6th with Enos Slaughter. It's a 5-1, so Slaughter a 1, and a 5-1 here is a 1. It's a 2 in column 5. That's a ground out to the first baseman, Adcock. And there's 1 away, and that'll bring up Harry Simpson. So Harry Simpson steps to the plate. And that's a 6-3. 6-3 is a 31. A 6-1 is a 2. That's a 33 in column 6, which is a pop out to second for out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down, and that'll bring up Tony Kubek. Kubek, it's a 5-1, which is a 3, and a 5-2, which is a 1. It's a 4 in column 5. It's a grounder to short. And the Yankees go quietly here in the 6th. So we go to the top of the 7th, and Cucks is back out there to face Adcock to start the top of the 7th. And another feature of this game are ground ball, fly ball pitchers. So anytime you have a ground ball pitcher like Cucks, when you get a column 6 and a roll of 1 or 2, that fly ball becomes a ground ball. That's what these shaded areas mean. So that means he is a ground ball pitcher, and that's how the game accounts for that. All right, it's a 3-3-5. 3-3 is a 14. A 3-5 is a 5. It's a 19 in column 3. That's going to be a double down the right field line for Adcock. So he might have been a ground ball pitcher, but not this time. That's a double. Brings up Andy Pofko. Andy Pofko, a 5-1-5. 5-1 is a 2. 5-5 is a 3. That's a total of 5 in column 3. And I'm sorry, a 3 in column 5. I got it backwards. A 3 in column 5 is a ground ball to second. And with the infield back, it's a ground ball plus advance. So Adcock will move to third. Had that ball been hit to short or third, he would have had to hold. But since it was hit to second, the runner could advance. Here's West Covington. They'll have to bring the infield in. They can't afford to get any more runs. Here's Covington. And we get a 5-4-1. 5-4 is a 1, and a 5-1 is a 2. That's a 3 in column 5. With the infield in, out at first as lead runner holds. So it is a ground ball to second. But the lead runner had to hold with the infield in. Had they been back, that would have scored the run. So there's 2 outs and a runner at third for Del Crandall. And we get a 3-4-2. 3-4 is a 1. I'm sorry, 3-4 is a 57. And a 3-2 is a 3. That's a 60 in column 2, which is the unusual or rare play. Roll and see if it's odd or even. It is odd, so we're going back to the rare play book. And in the rare play book, this time the situation is a runner at third and 2 outs. Runner at third and 2 outs, and we get a 5. So we go to the rare play book, runner at third and 2 outs. Runner at third and 2 outs with a runner of 5. It says, batter strikes out swinging. Catcher drops third, strike. Picks up the ball and fires to first. Roll against the first baseman's error rating. If the roll is not higher, the putout is made. So we're checking the first baseman's error rating. The first baseman's error rating, in this case Simpson, he's a 62. So it says here that if it's not higher, he'll make the play. So as long as this is a 62 or less, he'll make the play. And he does. It's a 31. So it's a strike him out, throw him out. So it's a 2-3 put out on the strikeout. And that's going to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 7th. Score still Braves comfortably in front by the score of 7-3. So Burdette, he's got an 8 for his fatigue rating, so he's still good to go. Jerry Coleman's the batter, but the pitcher, Cucks, is scheduled to bat next, so we're most likely looking at a pinch hitter. But first things first, here's Coleman. Whoops, that was a 1. It was a 1-1-5, so 1-1 is a 10, 1-5 is a 5. It's a 15 in column 1. That's a single up the middle for Jerry Coleman. So he will single, and now we'll get a pinch hitter for Mr. Cucks. And the pinch hitter is going to be pinch hitter. They need a good pinch hitter, not a lousy pinch hitter. It's going to be Jerry Lumpy. So Jerry Lumpy hit 340 on his limited duties, and he's going to get the pinch hit here against Burdette. It's a 4-5-5. 4-5 is a 2. 4-5 is a shortstop Logan, who's a 1. So that's a total of 3, and that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play. So the pinch hitter Lumpy failed miserably as he hits into a double play. 2 quick outs for the Yankees. 2 quick outs, and yes, I have the window open. There's a truck going by. That's what you're hearing, a dump truck. All right, here is Hank Bauer. And we got another fielding check. 4-4 is an 11, and a 4-6 is second baseman, and that is Shane Dees, who's a 2. So that's going to be an error check for Shane Dees, and he's an E54. E54, but it's a 46, so he made the play. So Shane Dees gets the 4-3 ground out to end the 7th. And if I feel like I'm going, if you feel like I'm going kind of faster, I am, because we're at 53 minutes, and I don't want to belabor this game all that long, particularly since it's not that close, but I do want to show the game off. All right, so we got a new pitcher coming up for the Yankees, and it's going to be the guy who was kind of like the legend in the 56 series, Don Larson. He had the perfect game in the 57 or 56 series, and he's going to be off to face Lou Burdette. He's going to stay in there to pitch because he has one more inning of fatigue left. With the lead, might as well let him do it. 3-3 is a 5. A 3-2 is a 1. It's a 6 in column 3, and that is a fly to center. So Burdette is out as Larson gets his first out of the top of the 8th. Brings up the top of the order, Red Shane Dees. Hopefully I've not bored anybody by this game not being that close, but just trying to get through it. We're at 54 minutes. I don't want to go, an hour and a half. All right, 4-6 is for Shane Dees. It's a 2. 4-3 for Larson is a third baseman Kubek, who's a 3. That's a total of 5 in column 4, and that is an easy ground out for out number 2. So that'll bring up Johnny Logan, the shortstop, with 2 outs and the bases empty. And we got a 6-1-3. 6-1's a 16. 6-3 is a 2. That's an 18 in column 6, and that is a deep fly out to left field to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 8th. It's still Braves comfortably in front, 7-3, and Burdett's going to come out for another inning of work, and he'll get to face shortstop Gil McDougall, followed by Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra. McDougall, a 6-3 is a 31. 6-1 is a 2. That's a 33 in column 6. That's a pop out to second for out number 1. And we got Mickey Mantle. He's been rather quiet today. He's 1 for 3. It's a 5-2, which is a 1, and a 5-2 is a 1. That's a total of 2, which is a ground ball to the first baseman Adcock. He'll take it to the bag himself. And there's easily 2 away for Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra definitely has been quiet. He's 0 for 3. And it's another fielding check, 4-6. 4-6 is a 4. 4-3 is the third baseman Matthews, who is a 3. That's a 7. And that's going to be a ground out, 5-3 to end the inning. So we go to the top of the 9th. Still a pretty much commanding 7-3 lead for the Braves. And Larson back out there will be facing Eddie Matthews. Another fielding check. I'm getting a lot of red 4s today. So that's a 4-1, which is a 19. That's probably going to be a base hit. And a 4-2 is a second baseman who is a 3. That's a 22, so it is going to be a base hit for Matthews. When you get a 19 in your column 4, it's almost guaranteed to be a hit. And the batters that get lots of hits have 19s in their column 4, obviously. All right, here's Hank Aaron. Oh, knocked him over. Hank Aaron, another fielding check, another red 4. 4-6, this time's a 1, though. It's probably a double play. 4-3 is the third baseman, so again, Kubek gets the call. He's a 3, so that's a total of 4. And with the infield halfway, that's a double play, 5-4-3 around the horn. And quickly 2 are gone as Joe Adcock, the first baseman, steps in. And I think we're going to let Burdette try to complete this game since he's been doing so well. 3-1 is a 31. 3-1 is a 2. It's a 32 in column 3. And that's a line out to right to end the inning. So Larson pitches 2 shutout innings. To his credit, we go to the bottom of the 9th, and the bullpen will be active in case Burdette gets in trouble, but they're going to let him try to finish this thing out. He gave up 3 runs in the first 2 innings, but has shut out the Yankees since. So he's been large and in charge. So bottom of the 9th, last chance for the Yankees. Here's Enos Slaughter. It's a 3-3, which is a 5, which means we're going to the ballpark. So we're going to re-roll the D6 and see if that number changes from a 5 to something else. And let's see here. Oops, let's knock it over here. It's a 6. So it stays as a 5 because the 6 dice result goes to a 5. So it stays a 5. And then we get a 3-4. So a 3-4 for Burdette is a 4. That's a total of 9 in column 3. And that's a single to right field. So Enos Slaughter will lead off with a single. Brings up Harry Simpson. And the bullpen for the Braves gets a little bit more active. Keep knocking the runner over or the batter over. Another 4. I must go to Vegas because I'm rolling a lot of red 4s here. 4-3 is a 1. That's not good news. That's probably a double play. So 4-3 is a 1. 4-6 is the second baseman Shandy's, who's a 2. That's a total of 3 in column 4, which is a 4-6-3 double play. And any thoughts the Yankees had maybe of rallying, pretty much gone by the wayside. 2 outs, the base is empty for Tony Kubek, and Burdette 1 out away from a complete game victory. It's a 3-3-6. 3-3 for Kubek is a 5. A 3-6 is a 5. It's a total of 10 in column 3, and that is a single to right field, so at least Kubek says, I'm not going to be the last out. So he gets a 2-out single, brings up Jerry Coleman. And if he reaches, we'll get a pinch hitter for Larson. It's a 1-1-6. And a 1-1 with a 10 here, that's going to be a base hit. Because anything you add to that's going to put it into the single category up the middle. So that's a base hit. Runners with 4 or 5 speed advance 2 bases. With 2 outs, all runners advance 2 bases. So Kubek will motor to third on that 2-out single by Coleman. And now we have another pinch hitter to come up for the Yankees. And it will be Big Elston Howard. So Elston Howard will come in to pinch hit against Burdett, and this may be Burdett's last batter. If he doesn't get Howard, then the tying run will be at the plate. So they're watching everything here. Fred Haney, the Milwaukee manager, is on top of it. So it's a 1-3 for Howard, which is a 35. 1-5 is a 5. That's a 40 in column 1. That's a ground ball to short, and the ball game is over. So the Yankees drop this ball game at home, 7-3. The series is now tied at a game apiece since Whitey Ford won the first game. But that's going to do it for the ball game here, as Lou Burdett, true to form in the real life, he pitches the complete game victory. He was the MVP of the real series. So maybe art imitating life in this situation. ID Jester break. I'm not sure what you're asking for, ID. The game is now over, so I'm just trying to put things away, but I'll be glad to stay on and chat for a few minutes if anybody wants to chat about whatever, or if you guys just want to chat amongst yourselves, that's fine too, while I put everything away. Beatles, I don't know what you think of this game, but it's a game that I certainly enjoy. Don't know how well I presented it, but because I, especially toward the end, try to go fast to get through this game in less than an hour, which it pretty much lasted an hour, but a lot of that was based on the fact that there was so much scoring, and that took care of that. Ken Castro, you're talking about Hurricane Hazel. I think you were probably talking about Bob Hazel. And if you look at Bob Hazel, he hit .403 during that season. I believe they called him up from the minors. Statistician, it's an interesting game. The computer game is definitely where I would start, maybe. If you're, like I said, some people don't like computer games. They like to roll the dice. But I believe ID Jester is pretty big in the computer games, and you can kind of get your feet wet on that. But when you play the board game, it helps. It's sort of like Strat. I used to start Strat playing the computer game only, but then when I started playing the board game, I started to understand the game a lot better and the mechanics behind it. And that's the same thing that happened with replay baseball. As I started playing with the dice, I started learning. It helped me appreciate the computer game even more, and how the cards were designed, and how to tell a good player from a bad player, and what strategy to use, and so forth. The good thing about the computer version is you can keep your stats there. Unfortunately, I don't have the 57 computer season, so I don't have the, if I did, I'd be able to input the stats from this game straight into the computer game, the way I do for Strat. But like I said, I got this off eBay. A gentleman was selling them pretty cheap. I think I got this for about $25 the whole season. And I know the cards on the replay site are a lot more expensive than that. And when you get the card, when you buy the season, it comes with a book that, and they have little write-ups from each of the teams. These are from actual replay players, and they have their own little write-up in there for each of the teams, and little pictures and whatnot. So that's a pretty neat little thing. They even give you in-season player moves, in case you want to do a full replay. They give you a instant replay chart. So if you want to play like one team's games and then have the chart do the others, there's a system to do that based on this chart. And in the beginning of the book, it gives you, their standings for that particular season and what happened. And let's see here. Actually, Hank Aaron was the MVP of that series. I was thinking it was Burdett. Burdett actually won all 3 games, but Hank Aaron was the MVP. And it gives you the batting leaders. You can see Ted Williams hit .388 that season. So it's kind of a neat little thing. And this doesn't really come with the game, but when I bought it from the guy, he had these little envelopes. So that was kind of cool. That came with it. And Beatles, I actually play a game called Diamond Mine Baseball on the computer, and that's been around for years, and I really enjoy that. In fact, they just upgraded their 1967 season to include all the transactions and left-right splits, so I'm thinking about upgrading to that for $10 to get that one. And that's pretty much it from here. If you guys have any questions about the game, or just want to chat about whatever, I'll be happy to stay around for a few minutes and do that with you while I put everything away. Replay Baseball does come with these standard pitcher hitting cards, much like Strat does. You know, there's hitter card number 1, there's hitter card number 2, it goes all the way up to hitter card number 6 for the better hitters. So that's something they have there. Of course, if you're playing American League, you can do DH, and you don't have to worry about that. Like I said, when I bought the game a few years ago, it came with this spiral-bound playbook. So when you were playing the game, when you go into each column, you had to keep flipping the pages, which isn't too bad, but it got a little old after a while. And so that's why I love this board, because this board, you just go to whatever you want, and it's already there. It's all in one piece and one part together. I know you can't see it on the camera all that well, but anyway, yeah, Statistician, it's like I said, it's actually a good thing about Replay is you can download a demo for free and try it before you buy it, as they say. So it doesn't cost you anything to check it out. Go to the Replay Baseball website. You can order that. Like I said, it is a trial, so you don't have to pay anything to get the trial. It's just that you get the trial version, and you get to play a few games. I think you get to play quite a few games, actually. And then if you want to buy it, you know, outright, then at that point you make your purchase, and they send you a code to make it a full game. But it's definitely, that's how I tried it. I tried it out on the demo and liked it, and the rest, as they say, is history. See here, Beetle says, I'm picking up the baseball history disc for Action PC. Yeah, I played Action PC, but I'm not really a fan of that game. I have it, but I'm not really a big fan of it. There's something about it I don't really like. I'm not sure it's that accurate, but that's just my own opinion. And the thing about games, the computer games like Action PC or Diamond Mine, the bad part about those games is you don't know the game engine. It's behind, everything's behind the scenes. Where on these computer games like Strat and Replay, it shows you all the results and what would have happened had you used a different player and so forth. So there's more of a, you know, the curtain's been peeled back a little bit, whereas other games you really don't know what's going on. So that's just my own 2 cents on that. But in case you're curious, the May Madness is still going on strong. I got 6 more games to go in the first round. And the last game I just played was a walk-off, actually. Don't have it out, but I got the score sheet in front of me. The 1990 Oakland A's defeated the 82 Cardinals. That was a number 4 seed versus 13 seed. And Ricky Henderson got a single in the bottom of the 9th to walk it off. Braves were down 3-2 going to the bottom of the 8th. But then Ricky Henderson homered to tie the game in the 8th. And then when we went to the 9th, they brought Doug Bear because it was not a safe situation, so I brought Doug Bear in. But then when Bear ended up loading the bases, I brought Suter in, but Suter gave up the single to Henderson, and that was that. So Oakland did win that game, and they will advance. The Oakland 1990 team will advance. And I did have an upset as well prior to that, and that was the Florida Marlins of 93. They upset the 55 Brooklyn Dodgers by the final score of 4-3. Josh Beckett was large and in charge in that game, and Looper got the save, even though he kind of gave up a run in the 9th, but they still held on and beat the Dodgers, beat Don Newcomb and the Dodgers by the final score 4-3. So that was the number 14 seed beating the number 3 seed. So one of those things about those tournaments, just like in the NCAA tournament, it's one and done, so anything can happen. Well, I'm up to an hour and 8 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. I need to get busy doing some other things. I do appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you enjoy this presentation of Replay Baseball. Like I said, if you want to check out the PC version, you can do it for free on their website. You can download a demo version. Doesn't cost you anything to try it out. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great Wednesday and enjoy whatever game you choose to play. And until then, I will see you down the road.